Nature is, without a doubt, the greatest artist in the universe. It paints with the vibrant colors of boiling minerals, sculpts with the relentless force of rushing water, and illuminates the absolute darkness with bioluminescent galaxies. But do not let this majestic beauty deceive you. Sometimes, the most breathtaking masterpieces on Earth are nothing more than perfectly disguised traps. Behind the mesmerizing crystal reflections, the glowing neon pools, and the sweeping red canyons lies a ruthless, unforgiving reality. Nature does not care about your admiration. It operates strictly on the cold, hard laws of physics, chemistry, and survival. Today, we are taking you on a visually stunning, yet psychologically terrifying journey to the 15 most beautiful but deadly places on the planet. These are surreal landscapes that look like they belong to another dimension, but stepping into them requires far more than just a sense of wonder. It requires a profound respect for your own mortality. Before we descend into our first gorgeous nightmare, tell us in the comments, which country are you watching this documentary from right now? The Blue Lagoon, UK. The Blue Lagoon in Buxton, United Kingdom. Nestled quietly amidst the rugged, picturesque hills of the English countryside, this tranquil body of water is a visual revelation. The lagoon shimmers with a striking, vibrant turquoise color that rivals the pristine beaches of the Caribbean or the Mediterranean. On a sunny day, the intensely bright blue water creates a romantic, postcard-perfect illusion, inviting exhausted travelers to dive in and swim in its seemingly pure, refreshing depths. It is an undeniably gorgeous anomaly in the otherwise muted tones of the British landscape. However, this mesmerizing azure paradise hides a horrifying, toxic secret. The Blue Lagoon is not a natural spring. It is an abandoned limestone quarry that has been flooded. The breathtaking blue color is the direct result of extreme chemical pollution from the surrounding limestone rocks, leaching calcium oxide into the water. The pH level of this beautiful lake regularly hits a staggering 11.3, making it nearly as caustic and corrosive as household bleach or ammonia. Immersing yourself in this inviting blue oasis can cause severe fungal infections, painful skin burns, severe stomach issues, and permanent eye damage. Adding to the horror, the murky depths conceal a sunken wasteland of rusted car parts, shattered glass, and decaying animal carcasses, all perfectly masked by the brilliant turquoise dye of chemical death. 24. The Strid, UK. The Strid in Yorkshire, United Kingdom. Walking through the ancient, moss-draped Bolton Abbey woods, you will come across a scene straight out of a classic fantasy novel. A narrow, picturesque mountain stream babbles gently through a gorge of beautifully sculpted, smooth, mossy rocks. The water seems so calm, narrow, and inviting that many hikers are tempted to casually jump across the small gap or dip their toes in the bubbling current. It is a portrait of pure, idyllic English woodland beauty. But this charming little stream holds a sinister reputation as one of the deadliest stretches of water on the entire planet. What looks like a tiny knee-deep creek is actually the entire mighty river wharf, suddenly flipped on its side and forced into a deep, subterranean rock fissure. Just beneath the deceivingly calm surface lies a hidden network of vast, cavernous underwater tunnels and a violent, pulverizing current of unimaginable power. Anyone who loses their footing and falls into the Strid is instantly sucked down into the dark, churning vortex below. The underwater hydraulics are so aggressive that bodies are often trapped in the submerged caves, pounded against the rocks for days. It is a grim reality that the Strid reportedly has a 100% mortality rate for anyone who slips into its deceptively beautiful, roaring depths. (23) Kawah Ijen, Indonesia. Kawah Ijen in Indonesia. Tucked away in East Java lies a volcanic crater that produces one of the most mesmerizing natural light shows on Earth. As night falls over the desolate, rocky caldera, ethereal, electric blue flames erupt from the cracks in the earth, dancing elegantly like liquid sapphire fires up to 16 feet in the air. By day, this same crater reveals a massive, breathtakingly tranquil lake of vibrant turquoise water, surrounded by dramatic, sulfur-stained yellow cliffs. It is a sublime, almost alien aesthetic that commands absolute awe. However, this mesmerizing beauty is forged in the fires of an extreme chemical hellscape. The spectacular blue flames are the result of highly combustible, pressurized sulfur gas escaping the volcano and igniting upon contact with the air. Breathing near this magical blue fire means inhaling concentrated, searing sulfur dioxide, a toxic gas that violently burns the respiratory tract and can cause immediate asphyxiation. And that stunning turquoise lake? It is the largest highly acidic crater lake in the world, filled with a lethal cocktail of sulfuric and hydrochloric acid. The water is so corrosive that it can dissolve human flesh and metal within minutes. Kawah Ijen is a magnificent, glowing jewel of nature, but it requires enduring a suffocating, flesh-burning atmosphere just to witness its deadly, acidic beauty. The Blue Hole, Egypt. The Blue Hole in Dahab, Egypt. Viewed from the rugged, sun-baked shores of the Red Sea, the Blue Hole looks like a gateway to an underwater paradise. A sudden, perfectly circular sinkhole plunges into the shallow reef, dropping the watercolor from a clear, sparkling turquoise to a deep, mysterious, and inviting navy blue. It is a stunning visual contrast that has beckoned elite scuba divers from around the world to explore its vibrant coral walls and abundant marine life. It is, without question, one of the most beautiful diving spots on the planet. Yet, the local Bedouins call it the Diver's Cemetery. The majestic beauty of this submarine abyss holds a terrifying psychological trap. At roughly 170 feet deep, an underwater tunnel known as the Arch connects the sinkhole to the open ocean. The glowing blue light from the arch is hauntingly beautiful, tempting divers to swim through it. But the extreme depth causes nitrogen narcosis, a severe, intoxicating confusion that acts like heavy drunkenness. Disoriented by the optical illusions of the crystal-clear water and drunk on nitrogen, elite divers completely lose their sense of up and down. They miss the arch, swimming deeper and deeper into the abyss, chasing a beautiful blue light until their oxygen quietly runs out. The blue hole is a magnificent, silent siren of the deep, luring hundreds of confident souls into a peaceful but inescapable aquatic grave. Tsingy de Bemaraha, Madagascar. Tsingy de Bemaraha in Madagascar. The name translates to the place where one cannot walk barefoot, and a single glance explains why. This UNESCO World Heritage Site is a sweeping, majestic forest made entirely of stone. Millions of years of relentless rain have eroded a massive limestone plateau into a breathtaking labyrinth of towering, needle-like spires reaching hundreds of feet into the sky. It is a surreal, prehistoric cathedral of pale gray rock bursting through the lush green jungle, offering one of the most uniquely beautiful and alien landscapes on Earth. However, this magnificent stone forest is arguably the most hostile, unforgiving terrain to navigate on the planet. Every single inch of this stunning landscape is aggressively lethal. The towering limestone pillars have been sharpened by the acidic rain into literal razor blades. The edges are so unbelievably sharp that they easily slice through heavy boots, thick clothing, and human flesh with zero resistance. There are almost no flat surfaces to stand on, and the deep, narrow crevasses between the spires form a terrifying maze with drops of over 300 feet. A single misstep, a momentary loss of balance, or a simple slip means falling into a pit of natural stone swords, resulting in gruesome, tearing injuries miles away from any possibility of medical rescue. It is a magnificent fortress of natural beauty, perfectly armored in millions of razor-sharp stone teeth. Boiling Lake Dominica. The Boiling Lake in Dominica. Nestled deep within the lush, emerald green peaks of the Morne Trois Pitons National Park, reaching this secluded lake feels like an epic quest into a mythical realm. After a grueling hike through the dense, pristine rainforest, the jungle suddenly opens up to reveal a massive, 200-foot-wide crater lake permanently wrapped in a thick, swirling cloud of white vapor. The contrast between the vibrant green jungle and the rolling, ghostly white mist creates an atmosphere of profound, mysterious beauty. It is an awe-inspiring, primeval scene of raw earth energy. But this mesmerizing, steamy oasis is exactly what its name implies, a lethal, boiling cauldron. The lake is situated over a massive crack in the Earth's crust, venting volcanic gases and extreme subterranean heat directly into the water. While the edges might seem merely warm, The center of the lake is in a constant, violent state of rolling boil, with temperatures easily exceeding 194 degrees Fahrenheit, 90 degrees Celsius. The deceptive, tranquil mist hiding the surface makes it impossible to see the slippery, unstable mud banks surrounding the water. A careless step on the crumbling edge will plunge you into a vast vat of scalding liquid. There is no swimming out of this thermal nightmare. Slipping into the boiling lake means suffering instantaneous, agonizing, full-body third-degree burns. It is a stunning visual marvel that literally cooks anything foolish enough to touch its majestic waters. 19. Mount Hua, China. Mount Hua in China. Standing at the foot of Mount Hua, known as one of the 5 great mountains of China, you are met with a staggering display of vertical majesty. Massive, sheer granite peaks pierce through a rolling ocean of clouds, decorated with ancient, beautiful Taoist temples clinging impossibly to the cliff faces. It is a breathtaking, spiritual landscape that looks like a classical Chinese watercolor painting brought vividly to life. The view from the top is a transcendent, divine experience. But to reach this heavenly beauty, you must traverse what is widely considered the most dangerous hike in the world. The infamous plank walk in the sky is a brutal test of psychological endurance. Visitors must edge along a rickety, decaying wooden walkway that is barely a foot wide, bolted haphazardly into a vertical cliff face, thousands of feet in the air. There are no guardrails, no nets, and nowhere to step but the rotting wood or toeholds carved into the sheer rock. The safety harnesses offer a fragile psychological comfort, but the sheer, dizzying drop into the misty abyss below is terrifyingly real. A sudden gust of mountain wind, a momentary panic attack, or a broken rusty chain is all it takes to trigger a fatal plummet. Mount Hua offers a serene, divine beauty, but it actively demands that you risk your life over a bottomless void to witness it. Kelingking Beach, Indonesia. Kelingking Beach in Nusa Penida, Indonesia. If you scroll through any travel page, you will inevitably see the iconic, awe-inspiring view of Kelingking. A massive, majestic limestone headland, shaped incredibly like the head of a Tyrannosaurus Rex, extends dramatically out into the vast Indian Ocean. Below this towering green cliff lies a secluded, pristine crescent of powder white sand, kissed by the most striking, vibrant turquoise waves imaginable. From the viewpoint above, it is a flawless, utopian vision of tropical perfection. However, this viral masterpiece is an agonizing and lethal geographical trap. To reach that perfect beach, visitors must climb down a nearly vertical, crumbling 400-foot dirt path with only flimsy, makeshift bamboo rails for support. One slip on the loose, dry earth guarantees a catastrophic fall down the jagged cliff face. But the true horror awaits those who survive the descent and enter the inviting turquoise water. Kelingking Beach is notorious for its brutal, unpredictable undertows and massive, crushing rogue waves. The shape of the bay funnels the raw, violent energy of the Indian Ocean directly onto the shore. Unsuspecting swimmers can be violently knocked down by a wall of water and instantly sucked out to sea by rip currents, so powerful that even Olympic swimmers cannot escape them. Kellinking is a flawless tropical illusion, a paradise that routinely crushes bones on the cliffs and claims lives in the surf. (17) Cave of the Crystals, Mexico. The Cave of the Crystals in Naka, Mexico. Discovered almost 1,000 feet below the surface of the Earth. This cavern is arguably the most magnificent, surreal geological wonder ever found. The chamber is crisscrossed by monstrous, towering pillars of flawless selenite crystal, some reaching up to 39 feet in length and weighing over 50 tons. Illuminated by headlamps, the giant translucent beams glow with an otherworldly, ethereal beauty, creating a majestic, silent fortress that looks like Superman's Fortress of Solitude. It is a masterpiece of subterranean architecture that leaves scientists and explorers completely speechless. Yet, this blindingly beautiful crystal palace is one of the deadliest, most hostile environments known to science. The cave is situated directly above an underground magma chamber, creating an atmosphere that is actively trying to kill you. The temperature sits at a blistering 136 degrees Fahrenheit, 58 degrees Celsius, paired with a suffocating, unrelenting 99% humidity. In these extreme conditions, human sweat cannot evaporate to cool the body. More terrifyingly, the air is so saturated with moisture that the fluids in a human lung will actually begin to condense. Without highly specialized, ice-cooled respiration suits, a human being exploring this majestic beauty will literally drown from the inside out and die of severe heat stroke in less than 10 minutes. The Cave of the Crystals is a breathtaking, priceless treasure chest, rigorously protected by a boiling, suffocating atmospheric defense system. (16) Horseshoe Bend, USA. Horseshoe Bend in the United States. Etched into the arid landscape of Arizona is a masterpiece of fluid dynamics and geological patience. The mighty Colorado River has carved a perfectly symmetrical, 270-degree horseshoe-shaped meander through the towering Navajo sandstone. From the rim, the view is absolute perfection. The deep emerald green and dark blue waters of the river sweep gracefully around a massive peninsula of rock, contrasting violently with the fiery orange and red hues of the canyon walls. It is a stunning, panoramic display of majestic, silent beauty that draws millions of tourists seeking the ultimate photograph. But this mesmerizing symmetry is an incredibly dangerous precipice. To get that perfect, unobstructed view, visitors must walk to the absolute edge of a sheer 1,000-foot vertical cliff face. There are almost no guardrails, no safety nets, and no second chances. The Navajo sandstone that forms the rim is notoriously brittle, layered, and unstable. It often looks solid, but can easily crumble away under the weight of a foot. The staggering, dizzying drop and the hypnotic beauty of the sweeping river below often induce a dangerous sense of vertigo. A sudden gust of wind sweeping up the canyon walls, a momentary loss of footing on the sandy rock, or stepping on a fragile, overhanging ledge is all it takes to trigger a silent, fatal freefall into the abyss. Horseshoe Bend is a flawless portrait of nature's artistry, but it demands ultimate respect for the invisible, crumbling danger at your feet. Pamukkale, Turkey. Pamukkale in Turkey. From a distance, it looks like a frozen cascade of fluffy white cotton castles or an angelic stairway leading straight to the heavens. The terraces of Pamukkale are a surreal geological wonder formed over millennia by carbonate minerals left behind by the flowing water. The blinding white travertine pools, filled with crystal-clear aquamarine thermal water, invite you into a seemingly peaceful paradise. It is a visual masterpiece that has attracted emperors and travelers for thousands of years. But this majestic white landscape holds a deceptive edge. What looks like soft snow is actually rock-hard, razor-sharp travertine. The edges of these magnificent infinity pools are incredibly fragile and deceptively slippery. A single careless step on the algae-coated calcium can send a person tumbling down the terraced cliffside, resulting in severe fractures or worse. Beyond the designated tourist areas, the thermal waters can reach scalding temperatures, and the geological stability of the cliff is constantly shifting. The sheer beauty of the cyan water contrasting with the snow-white rock creates an intoxicating illusion of safety, blinding visitors to the fact that they are walking on a delicate, slippery precipice carved by boiling earth. The White Desert, Egypt. The White Desert in Egypt. Imagine wandering through a vast, endless ocean of golden sand, only to suddenly stumble upon a landscape that looks like a snowstorm frozen in time. The Farafra White Desert is an otherworldly gallery of massive, blindingly white chalk formations, sculpted by centuries of wind and sand into surreal shapes, massive mushrooms, alien spires, and mythical beasts standing starkly against the deep blue sky. Under the moonlight, the desert floor glows with a ghostly, luminescent pallor, creating an atmosphere of profound, ethereal beauty. But this majestic isolation is exactly what makes it a deadly trap. The mesmerizing white formations act as a massive optical illusion. The complete lack of distinct landmarks makes navigation nearly impossible for the untrained eye. If a sudden sandstorm sweeps across the plateau, the sky and the white earth blend into a disorienting, blinding vortex where finding your way back is impossible. Furthermore, the extreme diurnal temperature shift is brutal. The same sun that bakes the chalk rocks to blistering, dehydrating temperatures during the day abandons the desert at night, plunging the environment into freezing, hypothermic conditions. The White Desert is a breathtaking museum of wind-carved chalk, but it demands absolute preparation, or its stunning isolation will quietly claim you. (13) Salar de Uyuni, Bolivia. Salar de Uyuni in Bolivia, stretching across more than 10,000 square kilometers. This is the largest salt flat in the world. During the rainy season, a thin layer of water transforms this endless white crust into the planet's largest mirror, perfectly reflecting the sky so that the horizon completely vanishes. Walking here feels like strolling among the clouds in a heavenly, infinite expanse of pure blue and white. It is a visual experience so divine and overwhelming that it defies human comprehension. Yet, this celestial mirror is a deceptive and harsh environment. Located at an agonizing altitude of nearly 3,650 meters, the thin air aggressively attacks the lungs, inducing severe altitude sickness, crippling headaches, and nausea. The blinding reflection of the sun off the pristine white salt creates a phenomenon known as snow blindness, without a single snowflake in sight, severely burning unprotected retinas. Beneath the breathtaking mirror surface lies a brittle salt crust. In certain areas, this crust is dangerously thin, hiding deep pools of freezing, hypersaline brine. Vehicles that venture too far from established tracks risk breaking through the surface, plunging into a corrosive icy trap miles away from any hope of rescue. It is a place where you can touch the sky, but you must survive the suffocating altitude and the blinding light to tell the tale. (12) Antelope Canyon, USA. Antelope Canyon in the United States. Descending into this slot canyon is like entering a majestic, natural cathedral of flowing stone. The sandstone walls have been polished to an impossibly smooth, fluid perfection by thousands of years of wind and water. When the midday sun pierces through the narrow openings above, it creates ethereal beams of light that illuminate the canyon in fiery shades of red, orange, and gold. It is a photographer's absolute dream, a tranquil, silent corridor of breathtaking, swirling beauty. However, the very forces that sculpted this masterpiece are what make it incredibly lethal. Antelope Canyon is a deadly drainage funnel. Even if the sky above you is clear and sunny, a sudden rainstorm falling dozens of miles away can funnel massive amounts of water directly into the canyon. With absolutely no warning, a silent, rushing wall of muddy water, carrying heavy rocks and massive tree debris, can violently rip through the narrow corridors at terrifying speeds. There is no high ground, no handholds, and nowhere to run. The claustrophobic beauty of the smooth, curving walls suddenly transforms into an inescapable, rushing tomb. Antelope Canyon is a testament to the patient artistry of nature, but it requires constant vigilance, for its serene beauty can vanish under a violent surge of lethal water in a matter of seconds. (11) Waitomo Glowworm Caves, New Zealand. The Waitomo Glowworm Caves in New Zealand. Drifting silently on a small boat through the pitch-black underground river of Waitomo is an experience that borders on pure magic. Looking up, the ceiling of the limestone cave is completely covered in thousands of tiny, radiant blue lights, resembling a flawless, breathtaking galaxy of stars trapped beneath the earth. The gentle, silent glow creates a romantic and deeply peaceful atmosphere, illuminating the subterranean darkness with a mesmerizing sapphire aura. But this beautiful starry sky is, in reality, a ruthless and macabre biological slaughterhouse. The mesmerizing lights are produced by the bioluminescent tails of Arachnocampa luminosa, a species of predatory fungus gnat larvae. The beautiful glow is specifically designed to attract confused flying insects in the absolute dark. Hanging directly beneath these glowing biological LEDs are thousands of invisible, sticky, mucus-covered silk threads. When an insect flies toward the alluring blue light, it becomes violently ensnared in the acidic threads. The glowing larvae then slowly reel in their struggling prey and dissolve them alive. The magnificent beauty you're admiring is not a peaceful constellation. It is a highly evolved, cold-blooded killing field, an intricate web of biological deception where profound beauty is merely the bait for a gruesome subterranean death. Grand Canyon, USA. The Grand Canyon in the United States. It is impossible to stand on the rim of the Grand Canyon and not feel utterly insignificant. A colossal chasm stretching 277 miles long and plunging over a mile deep, its beautifully layered bands of red, orange, and purple rock chronicle billions of years of Earth's violent geological history. The sheer, overwhelming scale and the shifting cinematic shadows at sunrise and sunset make it one of the most magnificent visual spectacles on the planet. Yet, the Grand Canyon is a master of deadly deception. The breathtaking scale creates a dangerous psychological illusion. Distances are vastly misjudged by the human eye. Hikers are easily lured down the steep, mesmerizing trails, underestimating the brutal reality of the ascent. The bottom of the canyon acts as a geological furnace, trapping solar radiation and causing temperatures to soar to a blistering, lethal 120 degrees Fahrenheit, 49 degrees Celsius. What begins as a scenic morning hike quickly deteriorates into a desperate battle against severe dehydration, heat stroke, and agonizing exhaustion. Furthermore, the panoramic, unprotected edges invite daring visitors to step just a little closer for the perfect photograph, ignoring the crumbly, unstable limestone. The Grand Canyon's majestic silence masks its unforgiving nature, a sprawling labyrinth of extreme heat and vertical drops that demands ultimate respect and preparation. Mount Bromo, Indonesia. Mount Bromo in Indonesia. Witnessing the sunrise over Mount Bromo is like watching the dawn break on another planet. Surrounded by a vast, desolate sea of sand, the perfectly shaped volcanic cone rises dramatically from the caldera, enveloped in a mystical, low-hanging mist. The soft, golden morning light casts ethereal, sprawling shadows, creating a tranquil and profoundly moving cinematic panorama. It is widely considered one of the most breathtaking views in all of Southeast Asia. However, beneath this serene visual poetry lies an aggressively violent geological monster. Mount Bromo is not a dormant relic. It is a highly active, rumbling engine of destruction. The picturesque white plume of smoke, constantly billowing from its open throat, is saturated with highly toxic sulfur dioxide gas. A sudden shift in wind can engulf visitors in an invisible, choking cloud that violently burns the lungs and eyes. The narrow, unprotected rim of the crater drops vertically into a roaring, boiling pit of pure geological fury. Standing there means feeling the earth vibrate beneath your boots, a terrifying reminder that the mountain could unleash a deadly pyroclastic eruption or a lethal barrage of glowing, flying rocks with absolutely zero warning. Mount Bromo is a stunningly beautiful ticking time bomb, offering unparalleled beauty right on the knife edge of annihilation. Eight, Fagradalsfjall Volcano, Iceland. Fagradalsfjall Volcano in Iceland. In the freezing, starkly barren landscape of Iceland, the sudden opening of the earth to release glowing neon-orange rivers of molten rock is a sight of unparalleled hypnotic beauty. Watching the slow, rhythmic pulse of fresh lava spilling out and paving new, glowing pathways over the dark, frozen valleys feels like witnessing the very dawn of planetary creation. The sharp, striking contrast between the blistering heat of the golden magma and the freezing, snow-covered environment creates a visual spectacle that draws thousands into a mesmerizing trance. But this hypnotic display of primal creation is accompanied by lethal, invisible threats. The beautiful, newly cooled crust of black lava is dangerously deceptive. It can be just inches thick, hiding rivers of magma that reach a devastating 1,200 degrees Celsius, 2,192 degrees Fahrenheit. One wrong step can plunge a leg into liquid fire. More terrifying, however, are the invisible assassins released by the eruption, lethal pools of carbon dioxide and sulfur dioxide gases. Because these gases are heavier than air, they silently flow and pool in the depressions and valleys around the volcano. A person mesmerized by the glowing lava, who wanders into a lower elevation, can be rapidly and silently suffocated by the lack of oxygen, succumbing to the toxic fumes without ever realizing the danger. Fagradalsfjall is a majestic forge of new land, wrapping deadly thermal traps and suffocating gas within its glowing, captivating artistry. 7. Son Doong Cave, Vietnam. Son Doong Cave in Vietnam. Hidden deep within the lush, impenetrable jungles of Phong Nha Bang, Son Doong is not just a cave, it is an entirely independent, subterranean world. Its scale is so incomprehensibly massive that a 40-story New York skyscraper could easily fit inside its cavernous halls. Where the limestone ceiling has collapsed, colossal sinkholes known as dolines allow sunlight to pierce the eternal darkness, giving birth to thriving underground rainforests complete with their own localized weather systems and ethereal, drifting clouds. Standing inside feels like discovering a lost, mythical paradise at the center of the earth. But this overwhelming majesty is paired with profound, isolating danger. To reach this subterranean Eden, one must navigate treacherous, razor-sharp limestone terrains and descend hundreds of feet into the black abyss. Once inside, the sheer staggering immensity of the cavern can induce deep psychological disorientation. During the monsoon season, the subterranean rivers that carved this masterpiece swell with violent, terrifying speed, threatening to trap anyone inside a pitch-black, rushing water tomb. A single slip on the algae-covered, towering stalagmites or a fall near the edge of a doline is almost certainly fatal, as rescue from this isolated subterranean biosphere is virtually impossible. Son Doong is a breathtaking sanctuary of monumental proportions, but it forcefully demands absolute humility from anyone who dares to enter. Six, Mount Erebus, Antarctica. Mount Erebus in Antarctica. Rising majestically above the vast, frozen desolation of Ross Island, Mount Erebus is a towering beacon of pure, glittering white ice against a pristine blue sky. It is a portrait of ultimate, untouched polar beauty. However, peering into the crater of this towering glacier reveals one of the most terrifying paradoxes on the planet, a persistently churning, boiling lake of red-hot magma exposed directly to the freezing Antarctic air. It is a stunning collision of ice and fire, a place where the earth bleeds glowing lava into a kingdom of frost. The beauty is undeniably mesmerizing, but the hostility of the environment is absolute. Erebus is the southernmost active volcano on Earth, wrapped in temperatures that regularly plummet to a bone-shattering -60 degrees Celsius, -76 degrees. This paralyzing cold can induce severe hypothermia in minutes. Furthermore, the volcano violently belches Erebus crystals, solidified magma bombs, and toxic gases that pool silently in the ice caves around the summit. If the brutal, blinding whiteouts don't disorient you, the sudden explosive eruptions or the invisible suffocating gas certainly will. It is a majestic but utterly merciless frontier, where extreme heat and extreme cold conspire to eliminate any form of life. Dalol Hydrothermal Field, Ethiopia. The Dalol Hydrothermal Field in Ethiopia. If you want to know what the surface of an alien toxic exoplanet looks like, look no further than Dalol. It is a blindingly colorful, surreal masterpiece of neon yellows, electric greens, and vivid oranges spreading across the salt crust. This psychedelic canvas is dotted with intricate, delicate salt formations and bubbling, multicolored geysers. The visual impact is profoundly beautiful and almost hallucinatory. Yet, this neon wonderland is arguably the most toxic, uninhabitable environment on the surface of the Earth. Those mesmerizing, brightly colored pools are actually boiling, hyperacidic ponds with a pH level often below 0, strong enough to instantly strip the skin off your bones and dissolve your flesh. The brilliantly colored air you're admiring is heavily saturated with lethal, suffocating chlorine and sulfur gases that aggressively burn the respiratory system. To make matters worse, the fragile salt crust masking this chemical nightmare is incredibly thin and unstable. A single misplaced step can shatter the surface, plunging you into a boiling bath of pure, deadly acid. Dalol is the ultimate definition of deadly beauty, a place painted in the most magnificent, vibrant colors of nature, specifically designed to disintegrate anything that touches it. Darvaza Gas Crater, Turkmenistan. The Darvaza Gas Crater in Turkmenistan. Deep within the desolate, shadowy expanse of the Karakum Desert, a massive, glowing crater burns brilliantly against the pitch-black night sky. Affectionately known as the Door to Hell, this colossal pit of fire is a mesmerizing, captivating spectacle. The dancing, roaring flames cast a hypnotic, flickering orange glow over the barren sand, creating a cinematic visual of raw, untamed energy that draws you in like a moth to a flame. It is strangely, undeniably beautiful. However, this fiery wonder is not a natural volcano. It is an industrial accident from 1971 that has been burning a lethal concoction of natural methane gas, uninterrupted for decades. Standing near the edge is a terrifying experience. The radiant, blistering heat emanating from the pit is physically agonizing, forcefully pushing you back while simultaneously starving the surrounding air of oxygen. The crater's rim consists of soft, crumbling sand and unstable earth with absolutely no guardrails. The hypnotic allure of the roaring flames tempts visitors to peer closer, but a minor collapse of the sandy ledge would result in a fatal, inescapable fall into a roaring inferno. The door to hell is a spectacular, blazing jewel in the dark desert, fiercely guarding its lethal heat. Danakil Depression, Ethiopia. The Danakil Depression in Ethiopia. Geologically connected to the Dalal Field, the broader Danakil Depression is a striking, dramatic portrait of primeval Earth. With its vast, cracking salt pans, dormant volcanic cones, and shimmering mirages, it holds a severe, minimalist beauty. It feels like wandering across the dried, cracked bed of an ancient, forgotten ocean. The raw, unbroken horizons and the profound silence create a deeply moving, almost spiritual sense of isolation. But make no mistake, this is one of the most relentlessly hostile and dangerous environments known to man. Sitting more than 300 feet below sea level, Danakil holds the record as the hottest place on Earth in terms of year-round average temperatures. The sun here is not just warm, it is a brutal, punishing force that bakes the ground and turns the air into a suffocating, invisible oven. There is virtually no shade, no fresh water, and no respite from the agonizing, relentless heat. Prolonged exposure quickly leads to severe dehydration, heat stroke, and a rapid shutdown of the human body. The minimalist beauty of the sprawling salt flats masks a geological wasteland that demands absolute endurance, a place where the majestic silence is heavily paid for with brutal physical exhaustion. Lake Natron, Tanzania. Lake Natron in Tanzania. Viewed from above, Lake Natron is an absolutely astonishing masterpiece of nature. Its still, mirror-like waters are dyed in deep, captivating shades of blood red and vibrant pink, bordered by the majestic African Rift Mountains. Adding to this enchanting, serene poetry are millions of elegant, pink lesser flamingos that flock to the lake, creating a vibrant explosion of color against the crimson water. It is a stunning, picturesque oasis of life. Yet, Lake Natron is one of the most chemically deadly lakes in the world. The striking red color is a warning sign of cyanobacteria thriving in extremely alkaline, supersaline water. The lake's pH level can reach a staggering 10.5, making the water as caustic as ammonia. If an unadapted bird, bat, or mammal makes the fatal mistake of crashing into its highly reflective, deceptive surface, the hyperalkaline water aggressively burns their eyes and skin. when they die. The massive concentration of sodium carbonate in the water acts as a rapid preservative, literally calcifying their bodies into haunting, perfectly preserved stone statues. Lake Natron is an incredible paradox, a breathtakingly beautiful nursery for flamingos, but a horrifying, petrifying graveyard for almost everything else that touches its crimson surface. Mariana Trench, the Pacific Ocean, the Mariana Trench. For our final destination, we descend to the absolute edge of our known world. At nearly 7 miles beneath the ocean's surface, the Mariana Trench is the deepest, most profoundly isolated abyss on Earth. There is a haunting, silent majesty to this extreme depth. Free from the influence of sunlight, the trench is illuminated only by the ghostly, alien bioluminescence of bizarre creatures that glide through the eternal, freezing darkness. It is an untouched frontier of mysterious, hypnotic beauty, resembling the vast emptiness of deep space more than anything on our planet. But this majestic silence is heavily guarded by the most crushing, brutal physics imaginable. The hydrostatic pressure at the bottom of the trench is over 1,000 times greater than at sea level. That is the equivalent of having a jumbo jet parked on every single square inch of your body. Without a highly specialized, heavy-duty titanium submersible, human flesh and bone would be violently and instantly imploded into nothingness. The Mariana Trench is the ultimate manifestation of deadly beauty, a tranquil, glowing alien world wrapped in a crushing, lightless void, standing as the final, untouchable fortress of Mother Nature. Our breathtaking, terrifying journey across the 15 most beautifully deadly landscapes on Earth has come to an end. From the enchanting, deceptive glowworm traps in New Zealand to the crushing, alien silence of the Mariana Trench, we have seen that nature's most magnificent masterpieces often demand the highest price for admission. True beauty is powerful, and true power is always dangerous. If you survived this mesmerizing descent into extreme geography, hit that like button and tell us in the comments, which of these deadly paradises completely captivated you, and which one would you never dare to visit? Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications for more deep dives into the awe-inspiring mysteries of our planet. Please note that some visuals in this documentary are enhanced by artificial intelligence to safely and cinematically reconstruct these inaccessible environments. Respect the wild, watch your step, and we will see you in the next epic exploration.